The right to fair compensation and transparency in land acquisition, Rehabilitation and Resettlement Act, 2013. Chapter 6. Procedure and manner of rehabilitation and resettlement. Section 43. Appointment of administrator. 1. Where the appropriate government is satisfied that there is likely to be involuntary displacement of persons due to acquisition of land, then, the state government shall, by notification, appoint in respect of that project an officer not below the rank of joint collector or additional collector or deputy collector or equivalent official of revenue department to be the administrator for rehabilitation and resettlement. 2. The administrator shall, with a view to enable him to function efficiently and to meet this special time frame, be provided with such powers, duties and responsibilities as may be prescribed by the appropriate government and provided with office infrastructure and be assisted by such officers and employees who shall be subordinate to him, as the appropriate government may decide. 3. Subject to the superintendence, directions and control of the appropriate government and the Commissioner for Rehabilitation and Resettlement, the formulation, execution and monitoring of the rehabilitation and resettlement scheme shall vest in the administrator. Section 44. Commissioner for Rehabilitation and Resettlement. 1. The state government shall appoint an officer of the rank of Commissioner or Secretary of that government for rehabilitation and resettlement of affected families under this Act, to be called the Commissioner for Rehabilitation and Resettlement. 2. The Commissioner shall be responsible for supervising the formulation of rehabilitation and resettlement schemes or plans and proper implementation of such schemes or plans. 3. The Commissioner shall be responsible for the post-implementation social audit in consultation with the Gram Sabha in rural areas and municipality in urban areas. Section 45. Rehabilitation and Resettlement Committee at project level. 1. Where land proposed to be acquired is equal to or more than 100 acres. The appropriate government shall constitute a committee under the chairmanship of the collector to be called the Rehabilitation and Resettlement Committee, to monitor and review the progress of implementation of the rehabilitation and resettlement scheme and to carry out post-implementation social audits in consultation with the Gram Sabha in rural areas and municipality in urban areas. 2. The Rehabilitation and Resettlement Committee shall include, apart from officers of the appropriate government, the following members, namely: A representative of women residing in the affected area. B. A representative each of the scheduled castes and the scheduled tribes residing in the affected area. C. A representative of a voluntary organization working in the area. D. A representative of a nationalized bank. E. The land acquisition officer of the project. F. The chairpersons of the panchayats or municipalities located in the affected area or their nominees. G. The chairperson of the district planning committee or his nominee. H. The member of parliament and member of the legislative assembly of the concerned area or their nominees. I. A representative of the requiring body, and J. Administrator for rehabilitation and resettlement is the member convener. 3. The procedure regulating the discharge of the process given in this section and other matters connected thereto of the Rehabilitation and Resettlement Committee shall be such as may be prescribed by the appropriate government. Section 46. Provisions relating to rehabilitation and resettlement to apply in case of certain persons other than specified persons. 1. Where any person other than a specified person is purchasing land through private negotiations for an area equal to or more than such limits, as may be notified by the appropriate government, considering the relevant state-specific factors and circumstances, for which the payment of rehabilitation and resettlement costs under this Act is required. He shall file an application with the district collector notifying him of A. Intent to purchase. B. Purpose for which such purchase is being made. C. Particulars of lands to be purchased. 2. It shall be the duty of the collector to refer the matter to the Commissioner for the satisfaction of all relevant provisions under this Act related to rehabilitation and resettlement. 3. Based upon the rehabilitation and resettlement scheme approved by the Commissioner as per the provisions of this Act, the collector shall pass individual awards covering rehabilitation and resettlement entitlements as per the provisions of this Act. 4. No land use change shall be permitted if rehabilitation and resettlement is not complied with in full. 5. Any purchase of land by a person other than specified persons without complying with the provisions of rehabilitation and resettlement scheme shall be void ab initio. Provided that the appropriate government may provide for rehabilitation and resettlement provisions on sale or purchase of land in its state and shall also fix the limits or ceiling for the said purpose. 6. If any land has been purchased through private negotiations by a person on or after the 5th day of September, 2011, which is more than such limits referred to in subsection 1 if the same land is acquired within 3 years from the date of commencement of this Act, then 40% of the compensation paid for such land acquired shall be shared with the original landowners. Explanation: for the purpose of this section, the expression original landowner refers to the owner of the land as on the 5th day of September, 2011. B. Specified persons includes any person other than 1. Appropriate government. E. Government company. E. Association of persons or trust or society is registered under the Societies Registration Act, 1860. Wholly or partially aided by the appropriate government or controlled by the appropriate government. Section 47. Quantification and deposit of rehabilitation and resettlement amount, where the collector is of the view that the obligations of the requiring body with regard to rehabilitation and resettlement can be quantified into monetary amount, he shall allow the payment of such amount into an account in complete satisfaction of such obligations, which shall be administered by the administrator appointed under Section 43, under the supervision of the collector. Chapter 7. National Monitoring Committee for Rehabilitation and Resettlement. Section 48. Establishment of National Monitoring Committee for Rehabilitation and Resettlement. 1. The central government may, whenever necessary, for national or interstate projects, constitute a National Monitoring Committee for reviewing and monitoring the implementation of rehabilitation and resettlement schemes or plans under this Act. 2. The committee may, besides having representation of the concerned ministries and departments of the central and state governments, associate with it eminent experts from the relevant fields. 3. The procedures to be followed by the committee and the allowances payable to the experts shall be such as may be prescribed. 4. The central government shall provide officers and other employees to the committee necessary for its efficient functioning. Section 49. Reporting requirements. The states and union territories shall provide all the relevant information on the matters covered under this Act to the National Monitoring Committee in a regular and timely manner, and also as and when required. Section 50. Establishment of State Monitoring Committee for Rehabilitation and Resettlement. 1. The state government shall constitute a State Monitoring Committee for reviewing and monitoring the implementation of rehabilitation and resettlement schemes or plans under this Act. 2. The committee may, besides having representatives of the concerned ministries and departments of the state government, associate with it eminent experts from the relevant fields. 3. The procedures to be followed by the committee and the allowances payable to the experts shall be such as may be prescribed by the state. 4. The state government shall provide such officers and other employees to the committee as may be necessary for its efficient functioning.